love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me. Better believe in your mind, cause it's everything. You can mold, shape, find almost anything. All it takes is some time and some clarity to find your identity. It's mind over everything. I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. Don't be scared. Just level up. Don't be back. I won't stop, I'ma fight until there's nothing left. It's so what? You're gonna be hurting bad, cause I've been to hell and back. You don't wanna make me mad. I stay strong, you will never see me crack. And if you get in my way, you gonna feel the wrath. Gotta say it to my face while he's looking back. Mirror breaks after math, when I hate I attack. I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. Don't be scared. Just level up. Don't be scared.
Alrighty, hi everyone, hope you're all doing well. Let's get this show on the road. Sorry I'm late, had a meeting with the members. It was a very important one. We're gonna partially talk about some of the topic that we spoke about in the meeting itself. It is currently unavoidable. Everybody thinks the market will go bananas. At least it kind of did in one form or another. If you started noticing, we kind of had a big bunch of gaps in a row, fairly big one every single day. With every little bit, they are shrinking. The discrepancy is shrinking, although we are closing every single one. Barely able to squeeze enough momentum to make it to back to 5,700, roughly as expected. Originally, actually, we've given them a little bit more credit and the ability to push higher. But it seems like they are only able to use their bullish momentum to push back on the bearish momentum currently, and so not really push any higher, but more so just retest previous levels, as I've mentioned in some of the other lives prior. Now let's go over the price action, the momentum, and how the market is getting prepped for tomorrow. Doesn't seem, I mean, I did predict a volatile day originally. We did get one. We got a gap which got closed. The market kept on rallying, correcting a little bit. I actually expected it to correct even deeper, potentially tracing all the way back to the levels at which we've started the day today, which we still might. We still have roughly about 26 minutes, as you can see. Although it does appear to be a little bit more bullish right now, but let's skip over the 1 minute because it's simply unimportant. In 5 minutes, we are seeing a little bit more also bullish momentum, but it's coming to an end. It's basically squeezing, and so it's gonna not be that surprising if on this scale of things, what we will see is the price action retesting that median of the channel. As you can see, there's a yellow line. I'm so sorry, it's so hard to see. In fact, you know what, let me just do this for you, maybe try and make it a little bit better visible. Right now you can see the yellow line a little bit better, right? That is where the median, the center of the current channel within which we are moving. You can see we were testing the ceiling right here. Now we ended up testing the bottom. And the crazy thing is, as I'm saying, it doesn't even seem like we're able to make it to that ceiling, which is 56.74, give or take, again, 74, 56.75, whatever, 80 if you want to. Of course, even then we may see a little bit of slippage. On the 30 minutes, we're becoming more bullish, since again that momentum that we see now starting to take effect. Still, it is done right above the 20, which is quite normal right before we break inwards or retest. In let's say if we would see, if I would see a lot of bullish momentum on the higher time frames, it's not going to be all that surprising. It sort of makes sense that what we're doing is, in essence, potentially testing one of the ceilings on the downtrend, right? But let's see whether the momentum on here on out on a larger time frames is bearish or bullish. Because if it's bearish, what it really means is that we are not even able to squeeze whatever that is necessary to make to that nearest ceiling, whether diagonal or horizontal, doesn't matter. We're not able to make it to it. Okay, so 45 minutes is seeing convergence potentially right above 50, potentially implying that maybe some bullish momentum right there. Maybe. That means probably retesting the various levels we saw just earlier. We spoke about was ceiling roughly around, what was that, 570, 560 something, 567, that kind of thing, right? That was that range, so that kind of does confirm that we can push higher to that level. 30 minutes we were an hour, so we're 45 or 45, right? Convergence, divergence going up potentially. 1 hour moving towards convergence, or so it seems. Again, that is the phenomenon of today's price action that allowed us to push slightly back higher towards 56.80. Those don't know, that was sort of the next stop, our high on our descending channel. And my argument is very simple, similarly to what we were doing right here. We are doing right here, just a little bit more congested and on a diagonal form. Here it was a little bit more flat, more of a flat channel. Here it's more of a diagonal downwards looking shape. So currently, whether we say that potentially we may flip over, which we're going to look at on the 4-hour chart in a second, let's look at what the market is at face value. It is bearish and pointing downwards. Okay, well, let's make the argument when we actually make it to 50, given that we're right now still at 73.66 and 64, 70-ish, sure. Haven't yet made it to 70. I would not be jumping with happiness. I would kind of pay attention to the wider channel that actually went flat. Similarly to how we say that phenomena can happen on a smaller scale, that's how it happens on a larger scale. And so we are currently really testing on the 1 hourly chart as that median. And so it's not going to be all that surprising if we're going to do this sort of price action several times before we decide one way or another. Now let's see whether it's going to be more likely downwards or upwards. This is currently bullish, potentially looking at convergence around at 50. This is, by the way, 4 hours. It is very similar to the 1 daily. The only difference is that 2 of these make 1 of these. And so you're going to get a little bit more of a broken down average, if you will. Still leads roughly to the same thing. It's just that sometimes this can be misleading because this is a smaller formation within the framework of the daily. Literally half. You have to divide everything by half. So, for example, that potential bullish momentum we're starting to see is that very same phenomena we're seeing right here on the daily. The market is slightly seeing some level of recovery. That is that. Within the framework that this represents this, and all that bullish momentum was just able to push us higher to this level. This is what we saw and spoke about, that we may end up pushing towards the median, which is right now at this rate sitting roughly at around 57.50, give or take, right? So there is still more room for bullish momentum. If we're looking at the current ceiling, that's roughly around 57. You start to notice probably how we hit the very same levels. It doesn't matter whether we switched between the time frames. You see how all of them end up being the nearest support or resistance levels through these moving averages. Now, all that bullish momentum cannot be ignored, and surprise, surprise, now that we're below the current channel, we might retest higher, just as we said, before continuing downwards. In oversold conditions, we are now with a little bit of bullish momentum, right? That is on the weekly. But here comes the real pain. The reality is that when we start a downwards channel, once we in mid processes, basically imagine that what you are seeing on the smaller time frames, it's as if I will blow this up and I will show you this. Sometimes within the framework of this, you're gonna have the price action going downwards and then upwards, downwards and then upwards, downwards and then upwards, and that will be exactly that. Okay, that is still that these partitions will be the upwards partitions on the movement downwards. Okay, so temporarily what we're seeing is one of these partitions on the way down. If the bullish momentum was so effective, so we would not be seeing how these two lines, these two forces are actually separating from one another and accelerating to the downwards direction. Wrong thing. So sort of in a similar fashion, right? The same way again, if we go down, right, and we correct back up, there is some level on which it will print on the price action. Since we had several waves or impulses that are corrective in their nature, roughly hitting of the very same. Remember, we kind of predicted that very behavior. The only difference is we predicted for the market to do it actually higher, right, at the prior stage. And so the market ended up actually dropping lower, an entire step lower. And so what we expected to be our floor ended up being our ceiling. So it's nothing good to brag about how, with all the bullish momentum and thinking how Trump will cancel the tariffs and blah, 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 all we got is just a temporary corrective movement that is not even able to drag us out to the ceiling. In fact, as we're making it towards that ceiling, we're basically slowly running out of momentum, right? Now, there's a reason we're working with a different chart today and kind of focusing on a different sort of point of view, just on the short-term perspective. But even in the short-term perspective, when we look at the larger time frames and see only the short-term channel, right, what we identify is this, that we're sitting on the ceiling, as I predicted in the first place, and we'll be turning back around, right? And the bearish momentum is just getting started, and one of the clearest signs that we're not up for a bullish wave, we're not able to break into overbought conditions just as before, and we're starting to identify the clear descending pattern. Okay, so again, although right now temporarily within the framework of these 3 months, the same way that when we were going up, we still had downwards downwards pressure and downwards behaving waves, the same way we're going to have upwards behaving waves on our downwards pressure. The further out we go, the worse it gets. The more distinct and clear it is, let me just clean this up, that what we are seeing is really a turnaround that is just rather slow and may take a long time, and once it completes, we're going to see more accelerating bearish momentum. So right now what we're seeing is just, it's how you're getting closer to the sea. You cannot see it yet, but you can definitely smell it. So this is where we are at. So the market basically is not reacting to Trump whatsoever, or the whole idea of Trump, canceling tariffs or going more lenient, in a what's the word I'm looking for, in a singular fashion affecting everyone, right? So, which we knew it was going to be a bargaining chip, and we knew he was gonna basically offer various countries, right, to get an out if they play ball and agree with what he says, his narrative. Now, another thing I want to do, I want to now look at the very same chart while seeing the long duration trend. It really matters, because what you're going to realize that what we've seen was a very limited point of view, and what happens here, if we're going to see sort of the full perspective on things, If we're going to look at this, yeah, of course we can skip 1 minute, of course we can skip 5 minutes, but you start to notice something interesting with the channels, right? If we're looking objectively at the current channels as they are, set up on the time frame that they are, based on the average that they normally work off of, most channels are pointing downwards. So ask yourself, when you're seeing the price action moving higher, are you actually being biased by any chance and hyper focusing on temporary channels, temporary price action, and not paying attention to what the market is bad? I hope, oh, that is bad. I hope the live is still working. Is the live working? Am I still running? Is it there or am I gone? Is the live still up? And that is not good. Here it goes. That very process of the retest. Jesus, can you stop interfering? I can't even draw. Can you please stop? What's going on? Yes. Okay. Things are going bananas. I can't do anything. Boys and girls, looks like my internet is having issues. Looks like the stream is going to drop.